Amazing things often happen in the natural world. Sometimes they defy any logical explanation. The touching story of a cat and a tiger cub took place in a small village in the mountains. A man named Nikolai, who has always loved animals, came across two abandoned babies. He just couldn't leave them in trouble. Unexpectedly, Nikolai's cat became a foster mother to these cubs. A few years later, she met with grown-up children. What happened next, and how did the animals react? Let's tell you more. The main character of this story is Nikolai, a biologist and nature conservation specialist. All his life he has been working with wild animals and studying their natural habitat. He lives in a small house near the mountains with his family. So encounters with wild animals are no longer new to him. He always liked to observe nature and the habits of animals. Nikolai's wife and child shared his life's work. There was also a universal favorite in the family, the black cat Murka. She has a pleasant and affectionate character, and she treats all the household with love. Especially to the youngest. One summer day, Nikolai decided to spend time with his wife and child in nature. They all gathered to visit the nearest forest. Absolutely everyone liked the idea of having such a rest. During the walk, Nikolai saw something moving strangely in the grass. When he got closer, he saw that there were two tiger cubs lying there, very tiny and obviously hungry. The kids obviously hadn't eaten anything for a long time, because their bones were literally sticking out. The mother was nowhere near, and the cubs themselves seemed scared. Nikolai could not leave them in trouble, because without help they would surely have died soon. His wife and child supported him in this decision. The man picked up the cubs and took them home, as it was impossible to leave them in the forest. It was immediately clear that taking care of such unusual pets would not be easy. But Nikolai's family was not afraid of anything. This is how this incredible and touching story began. At home, Nikolai was convinced that the cubs were really very hungry. He fed and watered them. It's amazing that the kids immediately realized who their savior was. They got closer to the man and did not want to get away from him, but they also needed maternal care, and a man could not give that. Fortunately, Murka the cat was not afraid of unexpected parental responsibilities. It was also fortunate that she had recently given birth. Nikolai gave the cubs to Murka in the hope that she would accept them. And she really did not reject the kids, but treated them very calmly. At first, of course, I was a little wary, but I realized that there was no threat from them. Murka even became interested in tiger cubs, both similar and unlike herself and her children. The cat has become a great mom to foster kids. She taught them everything: how to walk, play, take care of yourself. She protected them from abusers and dangers, although they themselves were able to fight back. Surprisingly, a very warm relationship has developed between an ordinary cat and tiger cubs. Nikolai had never seen anything like it. It feels like these animals have always been one family together. Even growing up, the cubs continued to treat Murka as their mother. According to Nikolai himself, thanks to this story, he learned more about true love. The kids became a model of warmth and affection for him. The whole family was delighted with the cubs. Nikolai's wife and child devoted themselves entirely to taking care of animals. Every day brought something new and interesting. Alas, over time, the cubs have grown too much. It has become inconvenient and unsafe to keep them at home. Of course, Nikolai's family did not want to part with their wards, but there was simply no other way out. After much discussion, it was decided to take the tigers to the zoo. Someone might have thought that it was more correct to take the animals out into nature and let them go. But they grew up at home, so they would not be able to adapt to the wild environment. The zoo has created good conditions close to natural ones. Obviously, they will be better off there than in a cramped home. saying goodbye to the tigers was sad. But such a solution is the best in the current situation. Surprisingly, Murka also couldn't calmly let go of her babies. She stopped eating after they disappeared, refused to play, and seemed depressed. Obviously, she missed the cubs. Over time, the atmosphere in Nikolai's house changed. If earlier tigers disturbed the peace and were always messing around, now it has become calm and quiet. It was the only thing that always felt empty and sad. The whole family missed their pets, despite the understanding that it would not have been possible to keep them any longer. A few years later, Nikolai decided that he wanted to visit his former charges at the zoo. Even though a lot of time had passed, he still missed them, as did his wife and child. Of course, I tried to think less about the cubs, but the emptiness in my heart still wouldn't let me forget. As if something was missing in the house, something was wrong. It took some time to organize the trip. Nikolai certainly wanted to take with him not only his wife and child, but also Murka. Fortunately, the formalities were settled relatively quickly. Still, the excitement was very strong. What if the idea turns into a failure at all? Upon arrival at the zoo, Nikolai wondered if the cubs would recognize him. How much have they grown in these few years? They probably changed a lot, became huge powerful cats. And they probably picked up some wild habits from their relatives, with whom they were settled. They just couldn't help but change. Nikolai went to the part of the zoo where the tigers lived. There he saw his former charges and immediately recognized them. They really grew up a lot, but the looks remained the same, affectionate and perky. The man picked up Murka so that she could look at her adopted children. The moment turned out to be really touching. When the cat saw the cubs, she got excited and started meowing, trying to get into the cage. She did not take her eyes off them, as if trying to tell them that she had returned to them. Surprisingly, the tigers also recognized Murka. They began to jump and grumble joyfully. It is obvious that maternal love is not forgotten even after years. It remains, regardless of distance, time and differences in species. According to Nikolai, this moment moved the man to tears. Of course, it didn't work out to let Murka play with his adopted children, but he is glad that they were able to see each other. The reaction of the animals showed that they recognized each other. And the former owner also remained in their memory. Kindness remains in the hearts of both humans and animals. Therefore, you should not pass by those who need help.